Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio. Elevate your franchise with Franchise Now. We tell your brand story on our radio podcast and boost it with powerful content marketing strategies. From blogs and videos to infographics and more, we enhance your brand's SEO and online visibility. Let Franchise Now help your franchise stand out in a crowded market. Visit us today and learn more to start your journey for greater visibility and success. And now, here's your host.
Welcome back, everybody, to Franchise Marketing Radio. I'm your host, Rob Ganley. We're the show where we bring you the stories and insights from leaders of franchises and brands across many industries. And today, I am thrilled again to have someone from the senior care industry join us. I have with me Jen Chaney. It's I think her second time with me, and it's been really cool getting to know the brand. But I do have a special place in my heart for senior care. But Jen Chaney, she is the Vice President of Franchise Development at Right at Home. It's great to have you on the show today. Thanks for coming back.
Thanks for having me, Rob.
It's great to have you. So, all right, I told you a little bit earlier that I wanted to kind of dive into, okay, you're at Right at Home, but I know, and I'm also involved in the industry too, senior care, that is, not just franchising. Like, tell me a little bit about your journey of arriving at this brand and a little bit about how, like, your journey dealing with, seniors and just how that connects with your life and your purpose behind being part of this brand. Because I know we all have a little bit of a purpose drive behind some of that. So tell us a little more about how you arrived at Right at Home.
I believe most people who are in franchising, they didn't necessarily find franchising, it more so found them. It's a pretty consistent thing that I hear anybody in the franchising world. And that's certainly true for me as well. Way back when I sold real estate, residential real estate, 10 plus years in sales, and I was approached to say, hey, there's a franchise development role that's opening up for this drive-through coffee franchise. It's in franchise sales, and you would start up the team and oversee development and sales. I had no franchising experience, but I had the sales experience. So, I took the plunge and took that role and had the most wonderful time of my life, learning all about franchising and franchise development and growth and, challenges. There were wins, there were challenging, very challenging moments, but I wouldn't change any of it. So I was with that company for 7 years and then decided that I wanted to make a change in the industry. So I went from drive-through coffee to senior care. So I was presented with this opportunity here at Right at Home and decided to make that change, and for what I call a compelling reason. So and I've been with Right at Home for 5 years now. And we have grown so much since I have been here the past 5 years, and I've loved every minute of it. But the meaningful part of senior care and the reason why I work for Right at Home, and very similar to the reason why people join the Right at Home system as Right at Home franchise owners, it's very similar and something that I call a compelling reason. And for me, I have a personal experience I was a personal caregiver for my mother in the final stages of her life, along with my 2 older sisters and my dad. So we shared this responsibility of, mom needed some extra care. So we've kind of had this schedule set up where, we live 120 miles away from where my mom was living, but we set up this schedule where I would travel up there and stay for a few days, and my sister would have a shift and my other sister would have a shift, and we kind of shared responsibilities. And we decided, there is somebody that we can hire to come in to help with these things. Not that we found it to be a burden to care for mother, and gosh, it's such an inconvenience. What it allowed us to do is spend time with her, the final months that we did have with her, in a much more meaningful way. That the caregiver would come in and help with those activities of daily living. And when we would spend time with her, it was in a way that was just companionship and spending time with her and not having to worry about getting her to physical therapy and getting her to the grocery store and getting her to this doctor's appointment, which was fine. We would have done it anyway, but it was such a blessing. And it's something that we didn't know that we needed until we had it. So when this opportunity showed up at Right at Home, I thought, what a way for me to be involved with helping people become entrepreneurs in a business that's meaningful in so many ways. I do feel like there are so many people working day-to-day jobs that don't like their jobs, and it's not fulfilling. It's not what they've set out to do. They want to become entrepreneurs, and they want it to be with a business that means something to them. So if you're interested in franchising, because franchising isn't for everyone. If you're interested in franchising and you're looking for a business that has that kind of impact, you have a big impact on the clients that you're serving, not only the clients, but their families. It just means so much. And you have to have that in you as a Ride at Home franchise owner, because it's a big part of our discovery process, the education and approval process to join the Ride at Home system.
Do you think, and this is just sort of an aside question real quick, and I know the answer kind of like what the internet would tell me if I went and did some research, right? But when I say this, I say it very casually. Do you think there's an awareness problem with senior care? Do you think that, let me frame it this way. Do you think people talk about it? Did you feel isolated in your world when you were taking care of your family? And did you talk to other people about it? Or was it kind of this secret thing going on in your world with your family? Like, how did that work for you guys?
My answer is yes, there is an awareness problem. And I can elaborate further. Well, I was not involved in the senior care space. At that time, I was working for a drive-through coffee franchise, so I really wasn't familiar with senior care. So the fact that it was an available option wasn't something that ever crossed our minds until I did the research and found that there's a service that can help us with this. So just kind of the awareness of knowing that this is an option. It was something that I was unaware of. And I can tell you that it's true to this day here in 2024. So many people that I talk to, they're like, I didn't even realize that this is something that I could do, that I could hire a caregiver to come in and help care for my loved one. It's even still, it blows my mind that people don't realize that's an option. Yeah. Not only that, but the awareness going back to discussing it with our mother. And I have a 95-year-old grandmother who it's not something that we talk about often, just because she doesn't want to talk about it. And it's not something like, well, you can take care of me as her granddaughter. Can't you care for me? Can't, Aunt Patty care for me? Can't you and your sisters care for me? Yes, we absolutely can. But there is another option here. So it's not something that's really talked about a whole lot within families, because seniors and adults with disabilities, they want to stay home and they want their families to care for them, right? But being open to the possibility that someone else can come in and have such a meaningful impact on your life is a very good thing, and something that needs to be talked about more often.
Yeah, no, that's why I wanted to bring it up. It's really on my heart to bring that up. I'm like, it's because we don't naturally talk about it. We wouldn't, other things in life that we go through, we talk to others about, and we share and we interact and we can relate. I feel like this is the one place where we don't. And it's probably one of the reasons it can be so fulfilling as well. Because I think, and you guys are probably the same, but one of the brands I work with, all their reviews are 5 stars. There's Kleenexes and people are wiping their eyes. I think part of it is because of that factor where in the beginning you're it starts to be oh my gosh, you feel alone. You're this is hard. And then all the other emotions I think that you might go through with your parents. Mm-hmm. And then to know that there's someone in a business that would be there with you and go through it and then help you through it, whatever that through it is. It's impacting, right? Anyway, so that's okay, that's what you're doing all day, right? Yes. And we're going to talk a little bit about business, but I got to say, that is the business, right? If you can do a business where you're passing the minutes of your day without thinking about it, and it feels good to do it. And then, of course, you want the money because we need the money to be good at that. So if we want to be really good caregivers, we got to make some good money too. So we'll talk about the responsibility of running a good business. And that's the great thing about franchising is that's what we're here for, is to keep making the business better. So let's talk a little, before I get into more details about that, I wanted to ask you about your growth strategy, because I know you guys are kind of crushing it, right? Like when it comes to, we talk about like, there's a big need, right? Like, so no doubt that you would be. So you're doing really well. I know you have, I think you said 700 and almost over 700 locations internationally, probably 500 plus domestically around there, roughly. It doesn't matter. That's a lot of numbers. My point being, though, is that you have a dual growth strategy, right? I think where you do work with existing businesses, right? Can you tell me more about how that works in combination with recruiting new franchise owners?
And you're absolutely right, Rob. So we have, as any franchise system does, every department, every facet of this business, you set annual goals, for revenue growth, hours growth, footprint growth, vertical growth, horizontal growth, what are all the ways that we can help our franchise owners with growth and this franchise system with growth. And for me, specifically franchise development, it's twofold. So awarding the franchise opportunity to brand new people coming in, either purchasing brand new territories or any of our resale opportunities. Those are more so transfers, so it's not a net new ad, but growth being, yes, awarding the franchise opportunity, brand new territories to brand new people. That's one avenue. In addition to that, my team also assists our franchise owners with expansion. So existing franchise owners who have a right at home business and they want to talk about expanding. So is there a new territory that's right next to them or near them that they want to expand into and purchase? Or perhaps purchasing a neighbor's business, and that would be, our assistance with a transfer. But the twofold growth would be growth with existing franchise owners expanding their business, and then growth with awarding the franchise opportunity to brand new people coming in and joining the right at home system.
Yeah, that's amazing. It gives the franchise owner as well a lot of opportunity to sort of figure out how to scale if they're ambitious. The young bucks of the world that are ambitious. I want 100 units, right? It's amazing how big some franchisees can get, right? I don't think in your space they're getting that big, but anyway. But yeah, it's great to have that because not every brand has that opportunity to sort of expand that way, and that. But you got to find the right people too. So I love that you guys are doing that as a brand and having different ways of connecting with the right business owners. All right, so you're growing fast. You're meeting the need in the world today. I'm wondering. Like you talked about your mom and we talked a little bit about like that happened before you started this role. And if you look back over the last 5 years and you did what you did for your previous roles and things, how do you think it impacted your style, your leadership style, the way you're approaching doing what you're doing because of your mom, I'm saying?
Yeah. Yep. So it's funny that you asked that question because this space, senior care, that's no secret. Senior care is very different than drive-through coffee, right?
Well, then you might need to swing by the coffee place on the way to doing whatever you're doing.
That was a learning curve for me when I left that role and came over here. But the added benefits to it were things that I weren't expecting. So things such as, I do believe it has really changed me as a person and as a leader, having this business model and knowing, our mission statement to improve the quality of life for those that we serve. And that is something that we talk about daily, and our business is completely centered around that. It's a different kind of way of doing business is really the best way to put it. With our franchise owners, what they do on a daily basis, being those leaders and making sure that the caregivers are trained, they're properly coached. We tell our franchise owners, not only are you caring for the clients that you're providing services to, but you're also caring for those caregivers. The caregivers are the heartbeat of your business. Without caregivers, you don't have much of a business at all. So there's so much heart that goes into this. You have to have a passion for people. And because that's what makes this business, the world go round here at Right at Home. Without that, you may have a very challenging time here at Right at Home. And the same goes for me in my role in franchise development. visiting with brand new people, and making sure that I feel like I have a huge responsibility awarding the franchise opportunity to these new people that are coming into the Right at Home system, ensuring that there is that mutual fit. And that's something that, I think it's different with every franchise brand. You're looking for a certain kind of person based off of the business model. And for us, obviously having the standard, qualifications for business ownership, you have to have, meet the financial requirements and, the things that, check the boxes. But there is a certain feeling that you have to have, not only as a franchise owner, but the feeling that myself and the rest of the leadership team that we have to have with people that we partner with. So being in this business and have it being such a heartfelt business, and you have to have this passion for people, it does create a different way of thinking and making decisions. And it really has kind of defined me as a leader and the role that I'm in.
You're a servant leader. That's a pretty amazing thing. Yeah, I mean, the business model is about service, right? Like a lot of them are, but this really is serving with the heart, is what I mean. So in terms of, is there anything else? Because I think you answered the question I had, which was, is there anything unique or people don't realize about an in-home care business that is? And I think you kind of started to talk about it, but is there anything else that you find yourself explaining to a candidate about the business that maybe they're always like, yeah, I didn't realize that. Like, it's okay, now I got to frame this a certain way. Is it a little bit about the people part? Or tell me, is there something that is usually that thing they just don't see it right away?
Yeah. So I think somebody asked me a question similar to this once, and it was like, what's one myth about senior care that you can, or maybe it was a myth about franchising or whatever, that you can just, bust that for us. And
Yes.
it was very quick and it was very easy to answer, is that when people age, there's this expectation that loneliness and isolation is a guaranteed thing. Like, that's the part of anyone's life as they age, as they grow older, as they, wherever they are in the place that they call home, that loneliness and isolation is just a guaranteed thing. And with Right at Home, it's not a guaranteed thing. There are so many things out there to help with that loneliness and isolation. You can hire Right at Home and hire a caregiver to come in and help with that loneliness and isolation. It's not a guaranteed thing. It's something that is avoidable. And that's something that I talk about often with people joining the Right at Home system. Like, of course, you're joining the Right at Home system to provide, companionship care, personal care, sometimes that more of a skilled level of care. But man, the biggest thing, so many seniors and adults with disabilities, they just want that companionship. They want company. They want somebody to visit with. Of course, it's nice to have somebody there to help you with around the house and to help you with your needs. But my goodness, that number one thing is just keeping them company. And it has such an impact on their lives, on their well-being, helping them age gracefully in this place that they call home. Companionship is just, it's something that is often overlooked, that is just so meaningful to people as they age gracefully. Man,
Amazing. Like, I feel like you're hitting the thing that is so important, like not just with seniors, with everybody. Like, it really is important, like, to care just a little bit, if we just care a little bit more for each other. But it is that little feeling that they're looking for. It's like someone actually doesn't mind hanging out for an extra few minutes and talking about some random thing. they like the random thing I brought up and talked about. Why did they like that? Like, that makes them feel good. Like, just having that interaction with people, that's so compelling, so cool. All right, let's talk about why it's a good business a little bit. Like, let's talk about the business, because in order to do this well, we want to do it for more families. We want to do it well. We don't want it to change. We want it to feel the same, just like we get with restaurant franchises. The food tastes the same. So we want to make sure that the experiences are the same, but we want to grow, right? So tell us about the business model a little bit. Like for those that are fairly new to the industry, how does it work? What's sort of the starting point and how does that grow? And I know there's some individual sort of choices that franchisees make, but tell us about that.
Yep. Okay. So the basics of the Ride at Home business model, when you join the Ride at Home system, what you are purchasing is an exclusive territory. So it's protected territory that is just yours, where you find a centrally located office, and that office is only used for caregiver training, interviews, caregiver recruitment. You've got a couple office staff members, but that's what the office is used for. The majority of the services that you are providing are caregivers going to the places where people call home, whether that's their own residence or maybe an assisted living facility or a hospital. Those would be your referral sources. So the business model being you buy this protected territory, you get all the help and support from your franchisor, but that's what you're paying for is as that protected territory. And the business model being you have this office where people can go to, but not all of the magic happens there at the office. The actual services are happening in people's homes. So that's the business model. The levels of care that the caregivers provide, 3 levels of care. So you've got companion care, where it's just, keeping someone company. Personal care is a little bit more hands-on, where you're helping them with activities of daily living. So bathing, dressing, meals, running errands, getting up and down from their chair, that's the basics of companion care. Then we also have specialized nursing services. It's a third tier that we have. A very small percentage of our franchise owners provide this level of care, less than 5% of our franchise owners, but it does involve more medical care. So IV dressings, medical dressings, more so like the medical side of things. And the reason why it's a small percentage of our business is because there's an additional cost to doing that level of care, making sure that you've got the proper credentialing, the proper employees who are qualified to do that level of care. So not all of our franchise owners do it. The majority of our business is companion and personal care and private pay business.
Got it. So that when that last part, just to be clear, private pay, the way you frame that means does insurance get involved ever with what you guys do? Or is it always just a service fee? How does that work?
So we've got the majority of our business is private pay, as I mentioned. However, we do have some government contracts that we can partner with. So Medicaid waiver, VA business. So you can partner with your local Veterans Administration, your local Medicaid waiver provider, and get the proper credentialing and the licensing to provide that level of care. So we're a wonderful partner with. Those are just 2 examples of government contracts that partner well with Ride at Home.
Yeah, and it's good. It's a good little added advantage if you're a franchise owner to have that sort of help to have in place already. So again, we all want to help each other, help more families, and that's what franchises do. They build brands that are really powerful, and allows the network of individuals to share in that power. And that's an example, being able to connect with programs like that so you can help more people, which is fantastic. Tell me about innovation. We talked earlier about AI. I was telling you a little bit, and obviously we hear a lot about it. And I know you guys, tech has been out there a while now, like home security and monitoring and different things. I wanted you to kind of just talk to me about innovation, talk to me about how you guys look at that now. And then now this world of AI that we keep hearing about. And I know for me, I'm very much at the sort of the tip of the spear of that. Like so I know I probably need to slow down a little bit what people might know about and not know about. But let's just say, I think most of us know that AI is an impactful technology and it will change humanity, much like the internet and mobile devices have. And so like, how do you guys look at technology? Because you want to balance that with the compassion and of course the business sustainability, right? And this idea of, again, we said, we want to do well. We want these businesses to operate well so they can help more families. So like, tell me, how do you look at technology? How do you leverage it? How do you handle it?
Yes.
Change coming. Yeah.
So you said it. Technology is, especially AI, it's 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 growing, it's everywhere, it's a part of our everyday lives. For any franchise system to see substantial growth, you're constantly evolving and changing and adapting with the times, right? So you can't just continue to do exactly what you've been doing year after year after year and then leave AI and technology behind, because it's going to outpace you, right? So we started an actual innovation branch of our business. We actually have several people who are full-time employees here who focus on nothing but AI. So innovation and AI are a very, very big part of our business, but I do want to be clear that Right at Home is a home care business where there is care being provided by an actual caregiver. I think it's going to be, you and I, Rob, are going to be long gone by the time there's going to be actual robots, providing care to seniors and adults with disabilities, at least a full-time robot. I think that's...
I have to interject. I think what I've been watching the last couple of years, right? Like I said, I'm on top of everything. And I think that the main business model of the future is what we've been talking about this whole time. It's compassion. It's human to human contact. It's relationship. That is not going to go anywhere. In fact, it may be a premium. So go ahead, bring the robots that just it just means we'll be able to spend more time with the compassion and the relationship, and you can go handle whatever it is that needs to be done, right? Like there's a lot of busy work to be done. But I think about it a lot, like what is the future look like? Mm-hmm. And I really believe that this kind of business model and this kind of relationship-driven business it'll be just more in value. I just wanted to say that right away. I don't even think there'll be a time where we want robots. I mean, yeah, they'll be there, but that relationship with human beings, that is going to be a premium with all brands. I feel like I tell this to every brand, but especially things like senior care. But anyway, keep going. Sorry.
No, yep, we are on the exact same page there. So how do we find a way to incorporate technology and artificial intelligence into that human interaction between caregiver and client? How do we incorporate that into our business model? How do we help our franchise owners make their businesses more efficient? And there's multiple ways to do that. And with technology constantly evolving and changing, especially with AI, I feel like there's something brand new every day. Every hour of the day, there's always something new, right? So we have a fantastic technology team, data intelligence team. We have an entire innovation team. What we have been doing over the course of the past couple of years is a lot of research on ways to incorporate those things into our business. We have a lot of pilots going on right now, things that we have tried and haven't worked, things that we have tried and liked. So how do we expand on those ideas? So we have a lot of things in motion right now that we're testing and piloting in hopes to one day incorporate these services into our Right at Home system. But we want to make 100% certain first that we have tried them and tested them and brought them through all the pilots and gotten all the feedback, which it's just amazing to hear some of the things that are out there that can help with that companion and personal care. Just incorporating technology into that caregiver-client interaction that benefits the client, it benefits the caregiver, even things that we're doing here at corporate headquarters to help with our jobs and how we interact with franchise owners and how we do business, making our processes more efficient than impacts our franchise owners. It's just everywhere, and it's a very, very big part of our business.
Can I ask you a quick question? Just about like the piloting that you mentioned. I bring that up all the time. It's funny. I feel like that is like you're so responsible to be talking like that. Like you've got to be piloting. It's like a thing you've got to do. Like, okay, so maybe 20 years ago, it started a little bit. And then 10 years ago, it was a little more. Now it's like, you've got to be doing this routine way of testing and evaluating. And again, having that filter that says, this is why we're here. This is our business model. This is why we exist, right? It's about compassion. And so like, you're filtering, like, how do we improve that? And you have to keep testing because, like you said, there's new stuff all the time. So we say things like piloting, right? We use that phrase. Can you tell me from your world, how do you approach that? Is there a framework that you use for a pilot? Is there a time frame? Is it different with everything you're doing? Is it mainly that we wanted to have, okay, so I'm going to tell you what I would say. It's like you define the timeline. How long do we want to test this? What are we looking for, right, it to do? Does it align with compassion or I mean, so is it like that? Is that you say, okay, for this one, we're going to do it for 2 weeks, see how it goes. And if it doesn't do this, we're gone. Or if it does, we're implementing. Like, how does that work?
Oh no, it's the first option that you mentioned. So it's once we find an opportunity that we want to explore, like, okay, let's put together the timeline. So we put together what we call rocks. Like it'd be a quarterly rock. So we operate on the EOS structure. I'm not that. But that's something almost every decision that we make here on the corporate team falls under kind of the EOS structure. So identify what the opportunity is. Okay, in what time frame do we want to complete this, or what does the end goal look like? What are the milestones in between? So we set out to say, all right, we want to reach this point by end of Q4. So that gives us 3 months to do all of these things, and it starts with, all right, let's do a research on this brand. How do we incorporate it? Where are we going to test it? Okay, so we've tested it. Let's get the feedback. Let's put together a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. What are the benefits of incorporating this into the Right at Home system? How do we scale this? How do we incorporate this? What are the challenges? What's the cost? So it's a ton of things. There is a framework for every single pilot that we have gone through so that we can measure. We have data that shows here are the things that worked and here are the things that didn't. Here are the opportunities and here are the holes and here's the return on the investment. I mean, there are multiple things that go into a pilot to ensure if we incorporate this into our system with hundreds of franchise owners so that we can confidently talk about, we did this and here's what happened. And it was over the course of several months, not just like, oh, we tried it once for a couple of weeks. We really liked it. So we're going to launch it to the whole system. I think that would be chaos. So making sure that it's data-driven, research-driven, and results-driven so that we can incorporate it in a very confident way.
An EOS, for the audience, is Entrepreneur Operating System, right? And it's a really famous platform and methodology and et cetera, I guess frameworks and things. But I just wanted to, it's a very popular, very cool. All right. So you as VP of franchise development, right? A big part of what you do is expand the brand. And in order to do that, like, it's pretty straightforward. Like, anyone that's done marketing and franchises for this part knows that you've got sort of some elements, like you've got the broker community, people that refer people they know to you. You've got all types of marketing opportunities online. Facebook is obviously big, and LinkedIn, I would think, is also a big pool of people. And then, of course, Google is Google, so big. It's so amazing. I don't know if people realize how big that website is compared to every other one, but you gotta have content going. I have found in my career that good content marketing, when people come across and read about your brand, that really is impactful. Like that. So an organic lead that comes through just research is a really powerful lead. I think the broker leads are very powerful as well, right? From people that know people. What's been your experience, especially since you're trying to find people with this blend of business savvy, sort of some business sales, marketing savvy, I would guess. But they got that heart thing going on. And a lot of it is that you've been through it with your mom and dad. Sometimes, I'm sure a lot of them have. Tell me, how do you, like, what works good in your marketing, and kind of what have you gravitated towards? What have you learned in these 5 years of crushing it the way you are?
This is a super exciting topic for me to discuss because I'm so proud of the work that the franchise development marketing team has done here at Right at Home. We have very specific geo-targeted marketing. So what that means is, give or take, here in the United States, we've got about 250 territories left in our inventory. So what we are doing we're only marketing and advertising in those 250 areas. Very rarely do we have like a blanket ad that spans over, the entire United States that reaches everyone. Very specifically, We have specific areas where we are marketing and advertising. Online specifically, especially social media, you'll find us on every social media platform. So that's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok was something newer that we've done the past couple of years. As well as we have a lot of digital content, and that includes videos. People really love to watch franchisee testimonials. We record weekly webinars where I interview leadership team members. So we've really bulked up our digital content because we know people are finding us online. Specifically where they are finding us, it's to each their own. Some people go to Google, some people go to YouTube, some people go to the social media platforms, some people go directly to our website. But we want to make sure that we are in all of those areas so that the information is there once they get to that platform. Again, going back to kind of the lead generation and how we do things, the best way to describe it is we're everywhere. And what our goal is to have these individuals have access to the information that they're seeking, and they can self-educate before they even reach out to us. So they're usually, they've read, 6 or 7 different articles or watched a few videos before they even inquire and contact us. So they're able to know a lot about Right at Home on their own. They don't have to necessarily reach out to us to get more information. A lot of our information is right there at their fingertips online for them to search in various ways and learn in various ways. So some people like to read, some people like to watch videos, some people like social media. We cover all of those areas.
That's what we're doing right now. Is we're just talking about the wonderful ideas around this brand and just the concepts. And to me, it's just so fun to talk about. Like I could talk about franchise brands all day because of what it means, the impact it makes in lives, right? And I know because I've had a lot of failures in the world of digital marketing and digital entrepreneurship that was just Wild Westish. And I just love the fact that, we're all big boys in the franchise world. Like we gotta make it happen. Like there's still that, but there's no better way to get into business and no better way to make an impact in my feeling in terms of a local community. So awesome. And I just love telling those stories. And I think that's the content, right? That's what we just talked about. It's like being authentic in more places, being ubiquitous in this storytelling that you are, right? That's really what people want to know about. I mean, they can read your website. They can do all the check boxes, right? And you got all the check boxes. I think it's what they're trying to, get into the shoes of a business owner. And that is through storytelling. So, and content is that, right? Isn't that what it is now?
Yes, and I'm going to add on to that. We have an initiative that has just blown up for us this year, even in addition to last year. We do these 15-minute franchisee interviews. So between myself and we've got 2 development directors, where on a very regular basis, we record a 15-minute interview with one of our franchise owners, and it's called the Meet the Family campaign. So if you go to our resource center on our website, you can find just a library, as well as our YouTube channel. You can find a library of interviews between myself or one of our development directors talking to a franchise owner. We ask the same 5 or 6 questions. And it's such a great way for people to watch these videos to be like, oh, so that's what it's like day to day being a Right at Home franchise owner. Would you do this all over again? Describe a day in the life. What are some of the challenges that you face? What's your favorite part of the support that you receive from Right at Home? Tell me about how your life has changed from when you first joined Right at Home to where you are now. Why did you choose Right at Home? Did you explore their businesses? What did you do before joining Right at Home? So it's just a great way for people to relate, to be like, oh my gosh, I watched videos and no one had any healthcare or home care experience before joining Right at Home. And they've been in the system for 20 years. So It's a great way to put things into perspective to say, okay, I don't have any experience with this. Can I do this? And after watching these videos, it's like, okay, I can do this with the help and support of a franchisor that's been around for 30 years. This is something I feel more confident in now, knowing that many other people are doing it and we're in similar shoes to mine when I, as I explore this Right at Home franchise opportunity.
I got to give you some some props for that one. You're right on top of it. I can't think of a smarter thing to do. And I'll tell everybody that if you work with me, that's what I would be talking to you about. So, but that's true. I mean, like when I think of all the stuff, I mean, I've done everything in marketing as much as possible, try to be at the tip of the spear with as much as possible. AI, of course, as much as possible. Anything I can do to connect visitors with value, right, on the internet and monetize it. I've been doing that for as long as like the late 90s, right? So, and to me, right now in this place we are right now, the number one thing you could do is what you described. It's amazing that so keep doing that, keep marketing those stories, because there's endless amounts of people looking for those angles and those perspectives, and you have however many 700 and some perspectives and times all those questions, right? Thousands of angles. And there's people out there thinking and searching and looking for those angles. And that's the key. So if you can do it well and do it efficiently, you enjoy doing it because it's really the heart of what you want to talk about. And it's authentic. And that's why it works. So anyone listening, drop everything and focus on some kind of content marketing plan and to tell your story. So, okay. One more question for you, Jen. So you've been helping entrepreneurs for years, and you've helped them get into business and see the impact of that. And it's been a while now. So you've seen people like been here a while that you've been involved with meeting the first time, and now they've been around a few years, right? And so tell me the most rewarding thing for you personally, though, in all of that, in what you do as a franchise development pro. What do you think it is? What's the most rewarding thing for you personally?
Boy.
And not to put you too much on the spot, you could expand that answer with any tips you might give to somebody that's maybe thinking about the brand. Maybe they're on the fence about senior care and they're wondering. What would your tips be for them as well?
Okay. So if I were to choose the one thing, because there are many things that I find rewarding about this role and what I do, a lot of people join the Right at Home system as compared to other brands, either in the senior care space or outside of the senior care space, because they're looking for some type of a legacy. And we have so many franchise owners that, because we've been franchising for 25 years, we're a 30-year-old brand, we already have several franchise owners that are passing this business down to their family. So we have several franchise owners that have passed their business down to their children, to family members, but more specifically children. And something that I have seen happen, and one of the many reasons why people join Right at Home is because, you know what? I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to build a business. And this is something that I want to become a family business. This is something I eventually want to pass down to my children and create this legacy. So it not only affects them, but it affects their entire family and their entire future and their lives. And this is a really great business to do that. I know that there are other businesses out there that also, kind of fit that mold. But quite frequently, people choose us because they have seen that happen with other franchise owners. And the tip that I can give, if you're exploring franchise opportunities, either with Right at Home or someone else, pay really close attention to the franchisee validation part of the process. So when anybody goes through the education and approval process to join the Right at Home system, we do task them to reach out to some existing franchise owners to do franchisee validation phone calls. And what the intent of that is, talk to some existing franchise owners directly. Ask them about their experience being a Right at Home franchise owner. Ask them, are you happy? Are you glad you did this? Would you do this all over again? Ask the tough questions. We also encourage them to ask, tell me the awesome things about Right at Home, and then describe a super challenging day to me, because we want people to go in with incredibly realistic expectations as to what this is going to be like. This is business ownership, and it's not all rainbows and butterflies and sunshine all the time. There will be challenges. And any system who tells you otherwise, they're not being truthful, because I think that is just like the staple of entrepreneurship. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days too. But When you join the Right at Home system, you have a franchisor helping you and supporting you and backing you every step of the way for your entire journey for business ownership. And there's really nothing that replaces that. I talk a lot about the culture. Making another tip that I would provide is making sure that you fully understand the culture of any business that you're partnering with. In my own experience, our culture is as advertised. We kind of have to be, being in this business that, the people business and having that care and that passion for serving others. That's certainly incorporated here at the corporate headquarters as well. Our jobs are to help and support our franchise owners build sustainable, profitable businesses. And that's what makes our world go round here. So those would be my 2 tips to somebody exploring franchise opportunities.
Very good tactical advice. Extremely good. Like, I don't think I've heard that angle. Like, you're right. I mean, I think one of the smartest things I've heard, like right there, if you know the brands, their ethos, if you know what they're about, like that's the marriage you're making is with that. So knowing the culture, knowing the brand, it's important to know that. And to me, that's like, you get that first and you probably be all right. You won't make too much of a mistake. And I like what's the most challenging day question. That's a good question. Like, it couldn't get worse than that, right? Like, you might want to check the challenging days, right? Wait a minute, like let's look at those first. No, kidding. But no, that's why you have a franchise brand, because they're there to work through and solve problems. It's not about removing problems. It's about solving problems and maybe removing them in the future once you've solved them. Anyway, so very good. So could you share the website and the best way to get a hold of you guys? This has been, by the way, a very heartfelt conversation, very enlightening. Thank you so much for being here. And could you share with the audience the best way to get a hold of you guys, should they have that feeling in their heart right now? And I do encourage them to reach out. So what's the best way to do that?
Our website is rightathomefranchise.com.
Beautiful.
Ton of resources on there. You can see processes, what it takes, what we're looking for. We've got a resource center on there full of articles and videos, and just there's a ton of information on there. So that's definitely the go-to space.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. And anyone listening and tuning in, jump on that. I mean, I say it every time, like, spend an hour with these pros, with this team. They're just going to be so insightful for you, and really understanding not only their model, but the industry and the impact they're making. So I do encourage it. Check them out. And again, Jen, thank you so much for being here. And I hope to have you back again as frequently as we want to tell stories. And we'll go ahead and do that. But thank you again for being here.
And thank you so much for having me, Rob.